G'day again, it's Dave on this end, Tom on that end. We're doing a bit of a video shoot on the REDARC battery management systems because quick shout out to Lisa who's requested it. We'll start with the easiest stuff. We're not going to go through the hardcore math on it because I don't have my whiteboard in this van and there's a lot of numbers to play with. But this is more about your using of the systems you've got and a bit of an understanding about what you've got or potentially what you might need. Under the bed in this Supreme is the REDARC Manager 30. It controls all the power coming into your van, so the solar on the roof, the 240 if you're plugged in, and the Anderson on the front coming off your vehicle. So that decides in that little black box where it's going to get its available power from. Once it's done its thinking, it's got a number of different heads-up screens that it can use. We'll start with the Red Vision Manager 30 mono screen, they call it. Again, that's the Manager 30 bit, so it breaks into little steps. So once you know where your Manager 30 is, in this case under the bed, know where your mono screen is. A lot of diagnostic stuff in here, but general use, an LED will come up here if you are on 240 volt power. If I tap up or down on the buttons, the screen changes to tell me where we're at with our batteries. So it's 100% charge and we are maintaining 100%. If we were free camping, it can give us an indication of how long we've got left. If I tap down again, it tells me where it's getting its available power from. So in this situation, we're out in the yard, we're getting 21.4 volts in from the solar panels. We're not plugged in, so that little symbol's lit up, and we're not attached to the car, so that little symbol's lit up. If we were inside the shed, the solar can be flicking on and off, and it will take its available power from the wall. So it depends where you are, how it's going to select its power, but it does it automatically. You don't have to do anything. If I tap again, it tells me how much power you're using. So at the moment, we're pulling 7.2 amps into our caravan, and we've got just about every light on that we've got. Important when you're free camping, because you may have left boot lights on, stuff like that, you can minimise your power usage. It'll also tell you it's trickling into the battery a little bit, just because it is. If you were on no power at all, this screen will be very important because it'll tell you you're chewing a lot of battery power. If I tap one more down, it brings me into a screen I can change out of touring mode. If I change the mode, I just follow the little pretty arrow picture. I can change it to storage, disconnect loads and hold confirm for 2 seconds. That's if you want to store your van when there's no power inwards into your van. We don't want to do that. Touring mode is what most people leave it on. Storage, like I say, is if you're going to go into a storage situation for a while. The REDARC system will cut your batteries out at a safe level. On storage mode, it cuts you out at a higher level. So it's something to consider if you are going to use it. Once you're familiar with scrolling through these screens, you probably won't use them as much. The other thing people forget they can do with these screens, and the REDARC systems are really good at this, if I hold the up and down button on whichever screen I find, it tells me what batteries are installed in this caravan because we've preset it in factory. If I wanted to change to lithiums, I reset the system here, I plug in for a while, it'll register the new batteries and work out its new 100%. So it's very easy to change up your batteries or change quantity of batteries. You reset from here once you've installed your batteries. Now we've jumped in a van that's got the Red Vision screen on it. It's still running the Manager 30, which is hiding up under the bed in this one again. This screen's got a bit more data on it, which a lot of people like because it's a bit easier to read than the mono. When you wake the screen up, it tells you straight away at the top that we're at 100%. It also tells you the battery's full. That's where it'll tell you how long it's got left when it calculates it's needing to use some power. The piece on the right shows you if it's plugged into your car, which it's not because it's not green. We're using all the power from the sun that we can because we're out in the yard and we're not plugged in. Same as the mono, it will decide its power usage depending on the situation you're in. So it uses the sun first because it's free. It shows on the bottom half of the screen what voltage we're actually using in your van. So again, we've got everything turned on in this Expedition. We're drawing 13 amps through the system. It's also pushing 5 amps into the battery. So the Red Vision system, or the Manager 30, is pulling 20 amps from the sun, feeding the van and the battery charger. What's slightly different about it is you can follow the green arrows around, which is just the push buttons here or here. So if I follow it to the right, it's got diagnostic screens. Very easy to read if you're worried about your solar input. As well, it shows you a bit more data about what you're doing. If I go to the left, I can Bluetooth it through to my phone. So I can sit on the couch and do my diagnostics in the van. I can also set date and times, strange things like that. Storage mode is up in the pretty little picture, shows your caravan in storage. We can also look at your batteries that you've been set within this, and much the same as the mono, you can reset if you put new batteries in. You can also set different alerts though, that tells you if your voltage drops to 10.5, it'll start chirping at you, and if the state of charge is on 0, it'll start chirping at you. You can manipulate these, but read the book, get comfortable with how you need it to warn you of things, or ask us at handover time, we'll go through it with you. And all of a sudden, we're back to the heads up screen. This will drop out to be dull vision, you just tap one of the bottom buttons. That one will not power your van down if it's a standard red vision, all it does is shut the screen off. If you go to the next one, which we're about to jump in, the Terry X, we'll show you the TVMS and what the red vision can do for you on that as well. So now we'll just magic a TV, morph into a new van. Now we've jumped into another level of battery management systems. It looks like the same red vision screen, but if I wake it up, it's telling me the same sort of data as before. This one's also got the functionality of telling you about your water tanks, which we haven't dialed into this screen yet. So it's the same heads up screen to a certain extent. It's telling me your batteries are at 100%, it's telling us we're full. The red indicator here is flicking around because we're using power while it's generating power. If it got to a point that we were using more power than the sun let us come in, it'll tell us how many days, hours, weeks we got left. It's still registering that we're on solar, not on car, not on 240 volt power. There are multiple background screens you can dial into your system to customize it. Same as the normal red vision, if you follow the arrows around, you can get to different history screens. You can also Bluetooth it through to your phone. We'll talk more about that in a minute because there's some very lovely stuff. Because this unit itself has got the TVMS in it, the Total Vehicle Management System, wrap your tongue around that, we can actually turn things on and off from this screen rather than using light switches, the radio switch, the water pump, all of that stuff happens on the control screen. Your inverter turns on from here as well, but we'll talk about that on a different vid. But more importantly, I can also Bluetooth it through, which if I can find my phone, which is a good idea to do. And if you've downloaded the Red Vision app, all of the screen action here can be connected onto my phone. So my phone is now reading everything off the TVMS Red Vision screens. So it's showing me the water levels. It's also showing me the battery stuff. It's showing me how much we're using, which in this case, because we've got everything turned on, it's close to 20 amps. It tells me the voltage, tells me the temperature in the batteries, tells me a lot of data about things. What it can also do is turn your 12 volt on and off in your van, which can be very handy. Or I can come into the zones and turn various lights off, or the stereo off, or the kitchen off. So hopefully you've noticed in the background all the lights going on and off. So I can do all of this sort of stuff from my phone rather than standing up here, which is extremely handy and it's good for showing off. So normally at handover we'll dial this into your phone for you so that you've got the full comfort of being able to use your system without having to stand here. You can sit under your awning and turn on lights, turn on the radio, turn off the radio, do everything off your phone because it's all reading effectively through the TVMS. Now, when you get the TVMS and the Red Vision screen, apart from having history logs and you can jump around the different screens, you find this funny little picture that looks like a battery with a car attached. If I dial into this, start battery recovery, it is exactly what it says. If we're connected through the Anderson plug at the front and your start battery is zeroed, you can use all the solar panels on the roof, your massive voltage power in your batteries to jumpstart your car. Much easier than getting out jumper leads and borrowing a mate's car and doing this and doing that. You can do it all from here. So if you have managed to flatten your start battery by leaving your spotties or something on, you can get recovery through the system, which if you're going off grid a lot, and let's be honest, we all want to, you've got the options. So it's well worth having a think about all these things before you get your van built so you know what you get in it and what you're going to use it for. Now, because we're in the Territory X, we've got plenty of lithium power underneath, we've got plenty of solar on the roof. Tommy's getting hot, so we're going to turn the air conditioner on. But I've had a quick squeeze, and it says we're pulling 17 amps. Steve's just walked past outside and given me the nod that we're using a lot of light power. We're also running the forward, rear, and awning LED lights, which in the middle of the day, what's the point? And I've turned them off, and we're down now to 6 amps because we've still got the bathroom lights and stuff on. If I dial in and find the 240 screen, I've just turned the inverter on. We're still not using any more power than 6 amps. When I come in and turn the air conditioner on, hold your tongue in the right spot because I've got to use the touch screen because the remote's buried somewhere. You keep an eye on this, you'll start seeing your amperage go up. The air conditioner's now kicked in, I'm starting to get a nice little breeze. It is the FreshJet 7, so it's a soft start. So it doesn't use a lot of power to get going, but once it starts going, it'll start getting up gears. A bit like riding your push bike, you don't go flat out at the start. But now we're going to start seeing this climb. So we're already at 8.5 amps, which is still not anything to worry about. But as we dial that in colder and faster, keep an eye on how much you're using. Because that's when we'll see this number change here that says full. Here we go, we've just kicked in the air conditioner, we're now pulling 20 amps. So the red arrows come down. If we leave this running, it'll give us an indication of how long we got left. And based on consumption, it's putting a little bit into the batteries. It's still reading full. Still reading full. So in today's situation, it's getting enough out of the solar panels to keep the air conditioner running. As we get closer into the afternoon, it'll start losing some. Now I can feel the air conditioner really starting to kick in. We're starting to pull 50 amps through it. So that's a lot of power coming through your system. What's also going to freak people out, now we're into 60, is this unit actually has the REDARC Alpha 50, which we'll talk about in a minute, which is allowing us to generate more power from the solar panels. We're still registering as full, even though it's drawing power through the van. So at this point of the game, the battery management system is putting out nearly 50 amps. The aircon's pulling most of that, but it's still getting a little bit of top up from the batteries, but it's still saying full. These are the things you need to keep an eye on when you're free camping, you've built your inverter system, you want to run your aircon, keep an eye on that. Because if all of a sudden it starts getting cloudy, the solar won't work quite as well, the aircon's still punching out as much as it can, you can start chewing your battery power. So if we leave this on for a bit longer, we'll see that drop. But while we're in this van and we're waiting for that, because it's nice and cool, we'll show you some of the toys that we've put in this one that helps us run the air conditioner. So this is the REDARC Alpha 50. The number basically means it's allowing 50 amps in. So the more solar panels, the more power you can generate, but it's still only going to allow 50 amps in, which is why they built it up from the Manager 30, which was 30 amps. You can also get it in a 75, you can also get it in a 100, which starts using a lot of stuff. The thing to realise is if it's a cloudy day, you're going to get maximum solar. On a sunny day, you'll still get your 50 in, but it will let more power in than the Manager 30, which is why they've come up with it. The big black box on this side is the inverter. Now this one's a 3000 watt pure sine wave inverter. It's been built into the van, so it will run the air conditioner, it'll run the microwave, it'll run the washing machine, but what it does is it converts your 12 volt power up to 240. And the easiest way to work that out is 12 volts this big, 240 is this big. It's got to use power to get up there, so it's not an all day situation. It is run your air conditioner because it's hot and the sun's out, but be conscious of your power usage because it is using your battery power, which is why people are now going Alpha 50 to allow more in, big inverter for better power out, and lithium batteries because they maintain and hold more power than your standard deep cycle. It's important to know where they are, where there's isolator switches on them, where there's remote switches on them, and most of them have a little cat door, so I can actually access direct to the inverter if I had a sleep apnea machine or something that was incredibly vital, rather than letting it run through the standard 240 system on your van. But know where they are on your van because they're in different spots in different vans. Ours are always under the bed because it's the best spot. Now I've just jumped back in after our little under bed demo and turned on as many interior lights as I can, as many exterior lights as I can, which you're never going to do because you're not trying to fry an egg on your lights. But now this van is pulling 87 amps through its system because we're running the air conditioner, because we've got all the lights on, the fridge is on, everything's turned on that it can be. And to do with the Manager 50 and the amount of panels we got on the roof, your battery is still reading full. And we've been chatting on for 5 or 10 minutes. So this is where the screens are important. These ones are much easier to read, and again I can look at it on my phone while I'm sitting on the couch having a cold one. If we left it on for too much longer, This will start coming up with a daily estimate, or if we threw a blanket over the panels, it'll tell us how much longer we've got left in its current environment. And that's when you go around and turn stuff off. If we had the Manager 30 on this van, with the inverter setup, which can be done, the battery management is allowing 50 amps to come in from the solar panels. It is splitting the bulk of it through to the lights, so 50 amps going to the lights. It's pulling 30 odd amps out of the batteries to get us up to that 80 odd. Now you can see up there we've just dropped to 16 hours of use. If we only had the Manager 30, this would be 30 amps. So we wouldn't get 16 hours left, we would have already dropped to something like 12 because we're not recharging that power back into the batteries. If I saw this at camp, I'd be going around turning some lights off because I want the air conditioner on, not the lights. But in a normal situation, you're not going to have the lights on like we've got. So again, if I turn some lights off, we'll start saving power. Oh, I've lost which lights I was turning off. The forward and rear lights, all those funky things. Some switches down here, we'll shut them off. So now all of a sudden we've dropped down to 70 amps of usage. We're still getting maximum power in because the sun's still out. So now we're climbing up on our consumption. We've now got 21 hours left because we're still pulling 50, but it's putting less out of the batteries. We're only talking amps. When you start talking amps, voltage, load, that's a whole new kettle of fish, and that's when I need to have my whiteboard out and some very smart people to try and explain all of that. The important number to keep an eye on is how long you got left, because then you know you've got to turn some stuff off. We'll turn the air conditioner off now unless Tommy wants to sit in here and do his editing in here because it's bloody beautiful in here. Get used to your systems. Have a long, hard chat to us before we build you a van about what you want and need, because you can do some of it without all of it, but you can't do all of it without all of it. And we like to get the van right for what you want to use it for. I think we're done. It's time to go camping because again, I'm getting excited playing with somebody else's van. I want to go use my own.